Hey everybody, this is Kelly. I want to introduce to my partner Steve Jensen. Steve is the second big kahuna over at DI, and he is my go-to or one of my top two go-to people to help us with everything. So I asked Steve, with all the great changes and services that Dental Intel is offering, I want to make sure that all of you understand the side products beyond Dental Intel, which is referred to as analytics. We also have engagement, which is local med online scheduling, and Medento, which is forms, auto confirmation, that whole bundle of fun things. But what I wanted to have Steve talk about today are what are the additional products, the key features of each of those products, but most importantly, how you can save money with DI by bundling together and the services that you may be using by other parties that are overlapping to keep you from having subscription fatigue. So Steve is, just awesome trainer. I've known him since I've started working with DI, probably 5, 6 years now. And I just wanted to bring him on to try to help us. If you have questions, feel free to ask. And we're going to go ahead and go through this. And then for those of you who have to jump in or jump out, we'll also record this for playback. And you can always reach out to me at any time. Also, Ashley Best is my other right hand. She will be the person responsible for onboarding you, setting you up with training, and so forth. And one last reminder that any of you watching this that are clients of ours, that if you are having any issues with training or problems that are technical, please reach out to premium support at dentalintel.com with an email. Copy me. You're going to get a higher level of training and understanding of our partnership by reaching out premium support. Support is still awesome, but you're going to get a better level, more information, and they understand how our products are set up and how we want them to work together. Steve, take it away.
Sweet. And this will be fun. So the idea, like Kelly said, is I think most folks are getting to the point where obviously we're familiar with the data side. We're nerding out. But then on the ancillary products, I think folks, as we have partnered, as we've acquired companies, some folks have, lost sight of some of these really cool products that we've released and options that we have. So I'm going to hit some of those. One thing I will note is that all the decisions we're making as a company, go back to the genesis of why we even started Dental Intelligence. Like we started because our founder Weston saw that there was a blind spot in dentistry, that we weren't running dental practices based off of data. A lot of it was gut feeling and kind of like a, hey, if we build it, they'll come mentality, which worked in the past. And but today it won't work. And so everything we do as a company is all data back. So I thought it'd be cool if I shared here kind of out of the gates. This will help us cover two different products that I'll jump in from this one graph. So one of the things that we've been tracking, excuse me, across our analytics customers over the years is a number that's called accounts receivable days. And this number is pretty simple. We're just tracking on average, how long does it take to collect from both insurance and from patients on average to get paid for the services that we're rendering. Now, back in 2022, you can see the average was like 17 days, so a little over 2 weeks. But all of a sudden, you fast forward into the second half of this last year, and that's ballooned up to 37 days. So now we're talking about over a month on average to collect from insurance and from patients. And so the thought for us as a company was, hey, we could probably help with that with two very specific solutions. In dentistry, we need to collect from the patient. So our thought is, hey, could we create tools that would make it more seamless, easier to collect from patients, easier for a patient to make a payment? And then the second place is from the insurance carriers. Could we make it easier for our customers to see what's going on in their claims aging and get their claims approved and paid faster as well? So I'm gonna hit both of those modules with you guys. So the first one is going to be inside of here. I got to get out of that. The first one's going to be inside of our engagement module. So let me share let me share in here. So here inside of engagement, if you're not familiar with the platform, this is the one that Kelly talked about where the standard things you're signing up for here are automating our forms intake process where it's all digital with every reminder that goes out. The patient also gets an invite to fill out any forms that are outstanding. And then those forms are automatically uploaded into Dentrix, EagleSoft, and Open Dental. It also does the appointment reminders, confirmations, all of that. But to solve this accounts receivable problem, we created our payments tool. So on the left-hand nav, this is an add-on. This one, if you're using our terminal payments, you don't have any monthly fee for this, just to make sure everyone hears that. If you opt out of our terminals, I think is pretty much a no-brainer. We have like a meet or beat situation where we have an internal team member now, Carlin, who helps rate match and go and do an analysis of your current rate. So we beat or match your rates for this. Otherwise, we just do a flat 2.79. If that's better than what you're paying after the analysis, then we keep you there. Otherwise, we'll meet or beat. So payments, I would definitely suggest using with the terminal because it makes it so you don't have a monthly service fee. If you don't use a terminal, that service fee is $59 a month for the digital payments, just to send text to pay. So here's the way that it works. There are, in the payments module, 4 different tabs at the top: transactions, deposits, payment requests, accounts receivable, and payment plans. And it defaults to this accounts receivable tab. All we're doing here, and this is my demo account, so it only has 2. If we plug this into your Dentrix or Open Dental, your EagleSoft, it's going to pull all of your accounts receivable. Anyone with an outstanding balance, it's going to pull them all into this list. And what it allows you to do is to go ahead and start sending out bulk payment requests, the text to pay requests. So from here, I could send a payment request to all of these patients that'll auto-populate with their specific balance. You have an outstanding balance of, $100 in this example. Please use our secure online payment feature to complete your payment at your earliest convenience. And then you can add on some additional language in there if you would want with our link. Okay. You can also set it up to say, hey, if they don't make a payment, I'm going to send out this text. You can even have a couple of different follow-ups. If they don't make a payment from the first text, I want you to send another text 3 days later automatically. And then if they don't pay from that text, then I want you to send another text maybe 3 days later. And you can set up this cadence. Kelly, I don't know if you have strong opinions on the cadence there for your clients.
We do.
Cool. And Kelly can help coach you through like, hey, what's a good cadence that he's found to send out those subsequent messages. But that way we can get multiple messages out and let automation start to do some of this work to collect payment. You can attach what's called a DI statement. Right now, I would just note that it's very simple. The statement is, we're working on a detailed patient statement. For now, the statement will simply call out the patient's balance and what's owed. It will also put in estimated insurance from whatever you have in EagleSoft, Dentrix, or Open Dental. But this is as detailed as the statement is today.
Steve, if I'm an office manager and the way DI payments was set up, but I get a payment from Steve Jensen and there's still an outstanding balance of $50, and I look at inside of analytics and I see that Steve still owes me $50. I have the ability to just, without bulk payment, I can send it right away. As soon as my payment from the insurancer comes over or whatever, I can send that immediately, correct?
Correct. Yep. And then the other thing to note, so once payments, so here's where you manage all of your accounts receivable payments, send out balances to be collected on. You can also collect terminal payments from here. So in the top right hand, there's this little, module selector to say, hey, I want to just go ahead and collect a payment now. I can use the physical terminal, and this is, connected to the practice management software. You can go through the workflow of actually collecting a payment. Now, since I'm not connected to a PMS, I'm getting the error, but you would be obviously connected. And you key in the amount they're going to pay. You connect it to the card reader, swipe the card or tap the card. You can use Apple Pay, and then it will submit the payment and write that payment back to the guarantor ledger inside of the practice management software.
You have the ability to see whether the patient received the email or text as well, correct?
Correct. Yep, you do.
So
So
you
you
could like, so in the event that, oh, I never got the statement, you can see that they never got the statement, so you can then send a paper one,
yep.
but you can verify that they did as well. And guys, this is a huge time saver for your front desk. If you talk to them about how much time they spend printing and sending statements, this is so fast and so simple and so good. It's definitely worth having.
Yeah, best practices for sure is saving paper statements and that manual effort and more costly effort as the very last ditch effort, not our frontline effort in trying to collect payments. So here's where we manage the accounts receivable, and then kind of logically you work your way over to the left. So then I can see all of my outstanding payment requests. Who have I sent a message to? And like Kelly said, what's that status? Have they viewed it or have they not? And you can do follow up from here. I can see all of the deposits that have been made. And since this is a demo account, it's zero, but every payment would show up here with the deposits we've made in the bank account that you've set up so that you can just reconcile any payments coming in from us. And then here it will show all of the individual payment, the transactions tab will show all the individual patient payments that were made and whether they've been posted to Ledger or not. So above the fold here, let me grab my little like marker. Above the fold here, right now, since we don't have our demo account connected to the PMS, none of these are posting. And then below it's going to post to the Ledger. You can have it turned on so it will automatically post to the Ledger. And if for whatever reason it fails, maybe the server got turned off or something, whatever it is, then it will show up in this not posted to Ledger. And here, if you need to manually post to Ledger, then I can go ahead and post it to the Ledger. And since I'm not connected to PMS, it gave me an error. But once it's posted, it would show up here in the bottom. And this is where, if you want to do a daily reconciliation of payments coming in from our system, here is where you would see all of the transaction log. Of course, you can sort by day, specific day, month, or custom range that you want to in the payments tool. So this is an awesome tool. The last thing I'll comment for payments, you also have the ability to set up payment plans. So if you're right now, you're managing payment plans just in the practice management software and trying to like set up alerts for yourself to collect, you can set up automated payment plans with card on file. So we do store cards on file. So if you need to make charges to a patient, you can just do that with their card on file once they have saved it and approved for charges. Payment plans will allow you to keep the card on file for recurring charges. So you can set up payment plans. This is especially relevant for practices that are doing ortho cases and want to do that in-house. Kelly, I don't know what your kind of feelings are on in-house payment plans versus using.
We work with Plan Forward and another
Cool.
company out of St. Louis
Great.
with Dr. Jeff Sindelar and his group. Two great companies. If you don't have an in-house plan, we can help you with that.
Okay, great. So here's where we can set up payment plans, which is great. So, and then the last thing I'll note, just so you guys kind of hear from me, like what are the things that we're working on to enhance this tool? There are two things we have, well, technically three things we have in the hopper. One, we're finishing up a formal integration partnership with CareCredit. That code actually just got live, approved by their legal team 2 weeks ago. So we're just going through a beta test right now with a small group of offices. But you'll be able to see pre-approvals, submit financing requests and everything all through our engagement and analytics modules. We even have some enhancements that some of you analytic customers will see. If this is something you opt into, where in the morning huddle, you'll be able to see all of the patients that already have been pre-approved for CareCredit if that's a service that you're actively using. So we've got some cool stuff coming up there. The second thing is something that folks have been asking for, and this depends on the state, on whether you can do it or not, is surcharging the merchant fee. Some of them have to call it a technology fee, but that, whether you're on board or not, will be an option. We're trying to be Switzerland there and let folks, if that's something that they want to do, let that be an option for them. and not be the one that makes the decision. So that will be an option. We have that targeted for release this next month. So that's the merchant fee surcharging. Basically, the way that works is instead of you having to pay that 2.79%, you're passing those fees in essence along to the patients. Like I said, that is state by state. Some states do not allow for that legally. So make sure you're, working with the right folks if that's something you're looking at approaching. But from a technical standpoint, that will be an option within our software this next month. And then the last thing we're working on is a detailed patient statement that gives a breakdown. If you want to send more detail on what services they're paying for by procedure code, we are working on a detailed patient statement that's been a high request from practices that have been, especially practices that have been using the payments, the virtual payments inside of analytics. It's been a
Steve, two quick points. The other company that we do with the in-house plan is Smile Advantage. That is Dr. Sindelar and his team. The other is with the fee for the credit card processing, and I, like Steve, half are in, half are out. But one of the things one of the reasons why, if you're going to go that way using DI, is it's a bookkeeping nightmare if you don't have it set up properly on that write-off or adjustment when claims come in. So this is one of the things that DI is helping solve that problem, so it's not a bookkeeping nightmare for you, should you choose to do it. We're not for or against. We can have a one-on-one conversation with that, the pros and cons, but you want to work with DI if you're going to do this for bookkeeping, keeping track of AR balances and so forth.
Okay, so I'll kind of wrap that up for the accounts receivable payment solution within DI. The second half of this story, I'm coming over to the analytics module. The second half of the story for this accounts receivable problem we're seeing in dental, and this practice is, particularly struggling with accounts. This is not one of Kelly's clients, just to make sure that's clear, with 91 days accounts receivable. Another one of those issues is practices are seeing claims take longer to get paid, and some of that has to do with the insurance companies, but a lot of that has to do with team turnover from surveying we've been doing. So folks that have been doing RCM in practices are turning over, and they're having to train someone new up on this process. So one of the things we wanted to do is try to make it as easy and as visual as possible for folks to manage all of their outstanding claims. So if you've messed with this little, in the top right-hand corner, there's this little app switcher button, which by the end of this year will be gone, and it will just all be in one left-hand nav here. But for now, it's there. You'll see that there's this engagement module, and then there's this insurance module. So if you click on the insurance module and you have the product, it will open up this claims management tool called DI Insurance. I think people ask this all the time because they're pretty prevalent. We partnered with Vine to do this. So there are 3 clearinghouses in dental that I'm probably preaching to the choir here. There's Dental Exchange, there's Change Healthcare that had the cybersecurity tack, and not many folks are using them anymore. And then there's Vine, who owns Tasia, technically Tesia. Tasia is their clearinghouse. And so all of our claims processing is going through Vine's clearinghouse, if that's like a question for you. So here's the way that this module works. The idea was, hey, most practices who are submitting claims natively in Dentrix or EagleSoft or Open Dental, you'll batch the claims, you can send them, but in order to get a status update on the claim, it requires a manual check with a static delivery. What I mean by that, it's not dynamic, like it's not actively checking the status at any given time. The other thing that we saw was a problem with the practice management software way of managing the claims was that they're charging a variable number for each claim you're pushing through. So they might charge anywhere from 35 to 55 cents per claim in order to process it. And we were able to get a deal where for $100, you can add the insurance module on top of engagement, and you can have unlimited claims and attachments getting processed. So you don't have to, and which would save people. We figured on average, the average practice was paying, based off our analysis, somewhere between like 150 and 175 bucks per month, just in claims processing volume if they were working with Change Healthcare through Eaglesoft Dentrix. Most open dental users seem to be using Dental Exchange, and kind of similar story there. So our hope was that we were going to save people 50 to 75 bucks a month in just claims processing volume, and then giving them a better experience from a UI standpoint. So let me explain like what we're looking at. So this the claims management tab has two sections. It has, let me grab my drawer. It has the oops, back to the drawing thing. Okay, here we go. Change it to the pencil. So I've got this unsent tab, and this is all the claims that I want to send out through the clearinghouse to each of the payers. And you can see, you know, the patient's name. These are all just test ones. The carrier who we're going to send it to. Like I said, this is a demo account, so not all this is super pretty, but you get the idea of what I'm doing here. And then the status of those claims, whether they're ready, pending, on hold, or if they've failed. So the idea, number one, one of the problems we noticed with claims management was NPI numbers might get fat fingered, or they might not have enough information in the claim in order for it to get approved. So the first thing that happens is once you batch the claims inside of the practice management software, you'll send them through the print driver is how it works. Might sound a little clunky, but once you do it once, you're like, oh, that was easy. So you batch them, you send them over to our insurance module, and then it does an auto scan of all of the claims to say, hey, is all the information ready to send, or is it going to fail? So in this example, it failed because for this specific claim type, it requires an X-ray with an NEA attached, and there's not one. So we're just warning you, hey, if you can push past our warning and you can send it still, but we're warning you saying, hey, this one on the pre-scan is likely to fail if you try to submit this claim for these reasons. So the idea is this will allow us to just clean up anything we may have missed or fat fingered before we batch send this group of claims out. If we're good with everything that's in there, let me get rid of all my little marks. If we're good with everything in there, then I can just select all the claims, and then I can select actions, and I can send all of the claims off through the clearinghouse for submission to each of the payers. Now, once they've sent, then everything shows up here in the sent tab. And let me change my date range. Maybe just have it grab a few more. I don't remember in the test account if that gives me a few more. Because this is a demo account, just a reminder that it's going to show all as rejected, because these aren't real claims that are getting sent, okay? But the idea here is that once we've sent them, now I can track a live status of what's going on with each of the claims that I've submitted. I can also see if there's been an NEA attached. So that's going to be my, the screenshot of my X-ray along with the NEA reference number. And then once I get a positive response, I will also have any documentation that the insurance payer sends back. So here I will also be able to see EOBs digitally, as well as any ERAs that they send back, the electronic remittance advice. So if you're like deep into the revenue cycle management process, then this dashboard will allow you to manage both of your unsent and your sent claims and track their status. Now, here's what this module isn't. Some of the common questions people ask is if this module allows you to manage insurance payments. You don't here. I think most people that are managing it aren't asking that question because they're aware that they're managing their payment type directly with each payer. So all of the electronic funds transfers, checks, credit card payments, preloaded card payments are all still being managed inside of each individual payer portal is where you manage those, and payments will come through there. But you will still get your EOBs, ERAs, all right here. You'll be able to see them digitally. Now, any questions about the insurance module? I think it's pretty straightforward. It gives you a nice visual user interface to manage all your claims. So I wanted to focus on accounts receivable. We started with payments, and this is the insurance module that a lot of folks are still unaware of. I think actually not a lot of folks. We probably have, I think we're up to about 65% of DI customers are enrolled with this now. So we've got a pretty good chunk, but that's still 35% that still aren't using it yet. So
Steve, what would what would is there an outside competitor that would be this would replace if they're using with somebody else?
Yeah, that's a great
A
question.
cost savings, if you will.
Yeah, so generally speaking, for the most part, we're just replacing you doing it natively inside of Dentrix EagleSoft Open Dental. And a big reason for that replacement, like I mentioned earlier, are two things. One is cost savings. Most people are blind to those costs because it's just lumped into your bill with Dentrix and EagleSoft, and it's a variable line. So it will have like, 55 cents times however, hundreds of claims you submitted that month, and that starts to add up really fast. So the
Yeah,
biggest benefit,
especially if you're a bigger practice and you won't ever see it because you think it's just part of Dentrix, but it is really an extra cost that
yeah.
this will then save you.
Yeah, so that's primarily what we're replacing. You can, if you're using this, if you're looking at this and you're like, oh, this looks just like what I'm already using with Vine. I already use Vine to pay claims. You could also save some money by switching that subscription and just bundling it in with DI. And all that will change is just the branding. So that left-hand nav, instead of saying Vine, it will now say DI Insurance, and you'll be hooked up inside of here.
And I'm
So,
going to mention this several times today, but reach out to me. I'll put you in touch with Ashley, my DI partner for
yep,
engagement, and that will give you the best savings. If you reach out to DI, make sure you tell them you want part of the Kelly Schwartz bundle, again, to give you the absolute best pricing on this product. We're here to save you some money.
yep. So the last thing I'll mention here inside of the claims management tool is the carrier list. One of the things that people often wonder is, hey, I've got a few random payers where I'm not sure if this is going to work with them or not. So you can come in here into the carrier list and you can see, okay, can I get real-time information on the claim? Do they send ERAs? Can I check eligibility? Can I send electronic attachments with that specific plan? So if I were to go in here and search like Aetna, then I can see with Aetna, I can do attachments. I can check eligibility. They will send ERAs, but they will not give me real-time claim information. So once I send it, it will show as sent until I get the ERA back. And at that point, it will show as completed. So there won't be any real-time status between sent and completed with that example. So here's where you can go and jump in and see any of your specific payers where you just want to double check and make sure that this thing's going to work in there, that you can do it. If they aren't on this list, then we do have the ability to go and make requests that we add them in there. Just note, and you guys probably already know this intuitively, generally speaking, really small payers play less nice with digital tools and are more old school, meaning you're going to have to submit, a claim, you're going to have to mail it to them. And so if they're still kind of living in the last century, then we probably aren't going to do stuff digitally. But if it's one of the more sizable payers, then you're probably going to be able to do all of this stuff electronically with them. Cool. So that gets us through the payments module and the insurance module. Let's see, Kelly, but is there anything else I wanted to hit before I jump into Swell?
Can you talk on briefly on engagement
Okay.
in regards to Medento um, forms, etc.? Just briefly what it does, because a lot of people use other products for their emails, confirmation, and text.
Yep.
You could let them know some of the key features and maybe voice drop, which if you don't have voice drop, this is something I've got some great suggestions for and how this can really, really help you with new patients, reviews, and unscheduled treatment.
Yeah, sure. So inside of engagement, this is what the engagement platform looks like if you're not using it. Its primary function is to communicate with patients, right? So the classic things that we're going to do are these different touch points. So in here, if you're coming and setting it up, the basic things we'll do are all of our confirmation requests, making sure that appointments are getting confirmed, and we do update the status in EagleSoft Dentrix Open Dental once they've responded. There are some cool enhancements, actually, Kelly, that I do want to call out. So one thing that I want to call out that's super sweet is if you're using our engagement software, we have recently added inside of the analytics software that you're familiar with, we've added in the scorecards a unique scorecard type called engagement performance. So if you're using dental intelligence engagement, this is last month in a practice, and you can actually go and see. So if I set up and I'm like, hey, I want to send out 3 confirmation messages, you can actually see how successful are those messages, and you can more thoughtfully and systematically make some tweaks. So at this practice, for example, last month, our automated messages confirmed 450 of their appointments. 213 of them got confirmed after that first text. And then the second text went out and it got 87 more appointments confirmed. And then the third text got 42 more appointments confirmed. So this type of information can be helpful as you're trying to think through, hey, like my team is spread pretty thin and I don't have time for them to go and make 30 confirmation phone calls every single day, possibly. So here's where you can go and tweak and say, okay, how are my current engagement settings, my confirmation settings working? And can I make it even better if I change the time I'm sending it, if I'm changing the language of when I'm sending it? So we want to make sure that you're as empowered as possible to get the most out of these automated tools, because even a thing like a text message is becoming increasingly white noise. So we need to get more scientific around the way that we're communicating with those patients. So in engagement, like I said, its primary function is communicating with patients, collecting information that your practice needs, and then putting that information back in the practice management software. So I gave the example of a confirmation request, but you will also collect things like forms. It will also send out reminder messages. Like I mentioned with reminder messages, it will automatically scan and see if you have any outstanding forms that are needed and have them fill out those forms digitally before they come back. You can also set up tools. One of the things that folks use, and I know Kelly's big with some of the follow-ups, one of the things that I like doing is tying automation together with the follow-ups tool. Here's what I mean by that. You might say, hey, as patients are approaching their hygiene due date, if we've not gotten them scheduled, maybe 1 week before their due date, or maybe 0 weeks, maybe we go on their due date, I want dental intelligence engagement to send out a text message every week for 4 weeks straight, or maybe every other week for 8 weeks, so 4 times. And I want dental intelligence to send out a message inviting this unscheduled but due for hygiene patient to schedule. And that's going to work its way through. And then if that doesn't get them scheduled, then I would go over into analytics and set up my follow-ups. Are you using automatically created follow-ups, Kelly, or you like them to be manually created?
We want manual. We're not using engagement for recall, Steve.
Okay.
We're using it. I want to use it more for delayed treatment. But
Okay, perfect.
really, what I'm wanting is just that people, our teams can text patients to communicate. They
Yep.
can get their confirmations. They can
Yep.
fill out their new patient forms.
Yep.
Those are our hot buttons. And then of course,
Yep.
I want
Birthday messages, can go out too.
yeah.
So all this
Yep.
automation, the nice little touches can go out here. Um, Another thing to note with engagement that I told Kelly I would show too is you do have the ability to send out online review requests. So if you're paying for Bird Eye right now or another solution that is sending out automated requests for reviews, we do have functionality built into the engagement platform to collect those natively. So here's what those settings look like. It's pretty simple, either 30 minutes after a completed appointment, or you can have it so that it's just between 6 and 7 p.m. that night after appointments are completed. Everyone gets a text message at the same time that you saw that day. You add in here, where do you want patients to send those reviews? Google, Facebook, Yelp, wherever you want to send them. You can say whether you want to get, if they have negative things to say, if you want it to come back to you, you can set it up so it can come back to you. if they have some feedback to share. And then you can also attach an image if you want to. So here the text message goes out, it invites them to leave a review, it gives them the review links. They click on that review link and it will go straight to your Google listing or Facebook page where they can leave that review. Now, if you're paying for Bird Eye and you're what we don't have in here is a full dashboard that shows all your reviews from all the different sites. What's your average kind of number of star reviews? There aren't alerts if you get a negative review in order to manage them. This is simply just sending out review requests. So if you're sitting there thinking, nah, we manage that a little more proactively than we do have an integrated partner with Swell. So this is what the Swell dashboard looks like. So if you're in engagement and you're using Swell, it's not on mine because it's not connected to my demo account, but it would show up on the left-hand nav here that would say Swell, and you would see this whole dashboard just inside of DI. Inside of Swell, Swell gives you the ability to see all of your reviews from each of the sites. You can see how many reviews you're getting. You can see all of the individual reviews, who made them, what they said, how many stars they were. You can respond to reviews from here. You can manage the messages that are going out to patients from here and respond to them. They also have a web chat feature that you can throw on the website, so that you can manage web chat. Just to note, one of the benefits of using Swell instead of Bird Eye, if you're using our engagement tool, is any of these web chat conversations that are happening with the web chat will actually show up in our patient chat and in our inbox here in engagement. So if someone's on your website and starts interacting with the Swell web chat feature, they want to schedule, they've got questions about fees, whatever it is, then you can manage it all from one place here in the engagement platform. So all those messages come in here into one spot instead of having to jump back and forth from the website. So do know that if you're using Swell, if you're paying for Swell already and you have our engagement platform and they're not connected, then that's a simple support request that you can make. If you are looking to do more with reviews than the simple functionality and engagement of just sending out those review requests, then Swell is our integrated partner that you can add on. Ashley can help you with that to get this dashboard added into engagement. Okay, Kelly, I think those are the main things I wanted to hit. I don't know if you want to hit any of the online scheduling stuff. We have moved the local med functionality here into engagement, which is awesome. We still have a couple things we're finishing, like adding procedure codes to appointments is getting built right as we speak. So that should be done this quarter, making preparations to consolidate all the technology into one spot. So okay. We just finished some of the multi-location scheduling features. So you can actually schedule patients from live ops now inside of here, which is awesome.
Can you talk a little bit about live ops and what that is? Because I don't think a lot of our...
Ooh, I can talk about it. I do not
give me the mile high version of what it is.
I don't have a good way to demo it is the one.
Can you give me a verbal of what it does?
Yeah, so live ops gives you a virtual view of your schedule for the day. And I can show you what that means. So I'll show you what it looks like, and I can kind of draw in what would be here. This is one of the gaps that I've got in my my demo access. So in this expected column, you have a bunch of circles.
You're not sharing screen, Steve.
Oh, I'm not. Share screen, Chrome. Okay, now am I back?
No, sir.
Okay, let me stop sharing and reshare. Okay.
There you go.
So
you're on engagement and seated.
Yeah, that's what I want to be on. So this is engagement, and you're seeing live ops, right? So here's the expected column.
Yep.
So live ops gives me the ability to see my schedule. So this right-hand navigation are all the patients we're going to see. So here in expected, it'll have a bunch of circles with all the patient's names, and it will have little signs that should tell you information like have they confirmed their appointment or have they not confirmed? Do they have forms they still need to fill out or do they not have forms that they still need to fill out? So all the patients that we are still expecting to see today will be in this expected column. Once we move a patient to arrived, then you can set it up so that it will send alerts to operatory. So if people have this pulled up on the operatory, then it could send an alert to op 1 and a little pop-up will happen in op 1 that says, patient X has arrived and is ready to be brought back. And then they will come back and that, the assistant or the hygienist could come grab the patient, bring them back and move them into seated. And once they're in the seated column, then, it'll alert the front desk, hey, the patient's been seated. And then from here, you could, chat up to the front and say, hey, we're ready to check them out, move them into the checkout area, and they can go through their checkout checklist. So there's a virtual way to manage what's going on. Now, beyond that, you in this op schedule, you're able to see all of these patients that are coming in. You're able to see the schedule here virtually. You'll be able to see open times. And if there's an open time, you can actually select the open time and send out scheduling messages, just like you're used to doing if you're using the online scheduling in analytics. You're able to do that here, or kind of that morning huddle functionality. We're able to send out scheduling requests to patients for these open times. What's cool about the scheduling in live ops is that you're actually able to access things like your ASAP list from here and send out like a first come, first served schedule opening request, where if you send out that slot to patients, it will say, hey, we're looking for a last minute patient to fill this gap in the schedule. And you can navigate to like the next couple of days if you want to send out a last minute appointment scheduling request. And once that appointment has been filled, then all those patients that you sent it out to will get a notification, hey, that spot's been taken. Would still love to see you back. If you have some outstanding needs with us, go ahead and click on our general online scheduling link to find an appointment time that works for you. So you don't necessarily lose them altogether. Yeah, Kelly.
Does it give you analytics on like how often you were running behind or on time? Does it give any analytics like that?
Yes. So if they're sitting in expected and it's gone past the start time of their appointment, then there will be a little like alert button, like like a little triangle that's like, hey, you're late on this one, and how long they've been sitting there with a timer.
Will it tell us, like, let's say, Dr. Kylie is scheduled for an hour, but she's taken an hour and 20. Does it show us that, hey, we're running over? Understand my question?
Yeah, I do understand your question. I haven't messed with it for once they're seated. I don't remember if there's a time clock. We do have it for like, hey, they're here and we don't have them seated yet alerts. I'll have to dig into that one. That's a blind spot for me. I think in each of these buckets, a timer starts. I think you can see a timer, but I don't remember 100% sure.
So a lot of offices would benefit, like we're scheduling an hour for appointment, but how often are we running longer than an hour?
Over? And being able to see it.
How much time did we keep them waiting? Yes, I know they're waiting, but how much time did we keep them waiting?
I'm pretty confident once they're seated in here, then there's a timer that starts in the top right-hand corner, and you can see how long they've been there.
So I got a question from one of my doctors. If the patient's not seated on time, would the alert show in our PMS?
No, it won't show. It will just show here inside of live ops.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Steve. I just wanted that overview. So what I wanted to touch on a little bit is voice drops. So one of two areas that I want to start introducing voice drops to more of you on. Two ways I can see it really beneficial. Think about it as you're able to purchase a certain amount of credits. And so, for example, let's say you buy 1,000 credits. That's 12 cents per voice drop as an example. And they don't expire. You just use them, then you can reload like a slot machine. But with voice drop, how I'm going to start introducing it is every time a new patient schedules, we want to set it up, Steve, so that that patient gets a voice drop from us. And the voice drop would go something like this. Hey, Steve, want to welcome you to our practice. My team and I are looking forward to taking great care of you. For more information on our business, please visit our website, kellyschwartz.com. I'm really looking forward to seeing you and providing you with 5-star service and being the last dentist you ever have to go to. Now, if you think about this, gang, a new patient isn't expecting a pre-phone call from the doctor, but this is a voice drop that you pre-recorded that you can send over and over and over for every new patient. After that visit, hey, Steve, I know you had your first visit with us. I hope our team exceeded your expectations. We really look forward to seeing you again. And if you really enjoyed our practice, please leave us a 5-star review. And if you had concerns in the way we handled anything, give me a call. We look forward to making it your overall experience great. So we'll work on scripts along that way. The third way we're going to use voice drops is when a patient doesn't schedule their operative treatment. Hey, Steve, I just want to say I noticed you walked out today without scheduling treatment. I'm really concerned that tooth could get worse, break, or fracture. We're going to follow up with a letter, but please give us a call so it doesn't cost you time, money, and discomfort I'd like to help you avoid.
Great.
Now, these are going to be pre-recorded messages, doctors. It costs you, if you send all 3 of those, it's going to cost you 36 cents. How many patients would you need to have a positive review, a rescheduled appointment, or something of that nature to make that little investment have a great ROI? It's going to be one of those powerful tools. It can be set up and automated. Now, Steve, here's where I need your help.
Yep.
If a new patient automatically scheduled, can we schedule that voice drop to go in the minute or within an hour of that new patient hitting our books? Can we pre-schedule that? Or do we do that automated?
You'll have to schedule once they hit your book. So let's say they schedule for 3 days from now, and you want that to go out in 2 days, then you can schedule it out to say, hey, the day before, I want this message to go out, next Tuesday at
can we
5 p.m. Then
can
you can set it up that way.
Can we send it the day they make the appointment? In other words, if they call today, it automatically goes out today?
Yeah, and I would do the same thing I'm doing here. I would just schedule it for like an end of the day phone call, like hey, at 5 o'clock p.m., maybe even like a random time where you want them to think you stayed a minute late to call them. So it's like, hey, this is gonna go out at 5:04 p.m. Because the reason why this timing matters, just so everyone understands how this works. Once I click send, and if it's at 5:04 p.m. today, then what's gonna happen is at 5:04 p.m. on the patient's side of things, their phone is going to buzz and it's going to have a missed phone call from your practice. And then immediately it's going to show, which they can't answer because it never even rings, but it looks like they missed a phone call. And immediately there will be a new voicemail on their phone. And they click on that voicemail and it will have, in their minds, it will be this they don't know it's a pre-recorded message. All they get is this voicemail with the audio that's exactly like Kelly said. Hey, this is Dr. Steve. I just want to make sure your tooth isn't going to get,
worse, break, or fracture.
Yeah, that spiel. And they're like, holy crap, doctor called me and left a voicemail. And it feels very personal. And it is personal. It's because you took the time to think, hey, what do I want this message to say, and send it out. And it's a really thoughtful way to break through kind of the white noise of email or text and get these folks' attention in a really meaningful way. So the timing of when you send it out, I think, does matter. I think it's cool to see, like, hey, doctor, I know they on their online hours, it says they close at 5, and I got a voicemail at 5:04. That's cool, So,
so we can't schedule all these in a certain cadence.
Yes, in a way. There's just limitations to that. Like,
that's fine.
When a new patient schedules, it's not going to automatically send out that voicemail drop. That's like an internal, me and actually Sam Miller, who's one of our great product experts for engagement. We're just talking about that again today, and he's putting a bug in Carl's ear. Like, we really should have that. What we're doing as a company is we're starting to think, we want to think of all patient interactions. We're calling them touch points is the branding we're doing. And the idea is that we want folks to start to be able to create communication workflows. So just like the way you're thinking, Kelly, like, hey, I want messages to happen in this sequence and in this order for these different triggers, whether it's a new patient exam or for a post-op message. We want practice to be able to set up a wide variety of those types of workflows. And so we are headed that direction. That's why we moved all of these settings into this visual called touch points. and we'll keep adding to this. So one of the requests that we have, Kelly, is, hey, in the other section, we want this to have voicemail drop options where it's like, hey, new patient schedules, and at 5:04 p.m. on the same day they schedule, I want this voicemail drop to go out. So that's on the request list. So today you'll need to go into the patients section. You'll isolate. I would just create a filter for new patients, and then you would, bulk send that voicemail drop to that group is how you do it. So it's still pretty easy, couple of clicks. It'll be even better as we allow you to set up some workflow automations for sure. So,
Okay. Because I mean, we would love to be involved on what touch points might our clients need in those sequences. I think we could give you some insight.
yep.
So are there any other product savings that our clients could use or in the bundle that I want them to be able to take advantage of? That I'm trying to eliminate our clients' subscription fatigue of
Yep.
having all these multiple products. And I love what you guys are doing, bringing it all under one umbrella. I love the cost savings you're passing on to my clients as clients of mine. So I just wanted to see if we're missing anything and go from there.
No, no, I think that's everything. And then just, yeah, one thing to note too, in terms of like cost savings, everyone, if someone came off the street, they're not a Kelly Schwartz client, and they were to come and say, hey, I want to sign up for the engagement solution, I want the insurance, I want Swell, I want the payment solution, like I want everything that Steve just showed me, then they're going to be paying upwards of $600 for all of that. And if you're coming in with Kelly, what's your guys' price, Kelly?
I want to say 350 to 450, depending on
Yeah, I
what
think,
products they add. They get a
yeah.
couple $100 a month savings. I know that.
And it's substantial. So that's like
Yeah.
especially if you're shopping around for like tools that are going to do everything that we were just talking about on top of the confirmation reminder messages, it becomes we wanted it to be a no-brainer for our coaching clients. People that are working with Kelly are special to us. They're folks that are avant-garde, trying to improve the business, and we want to make sure that you stay connected with Kelly a long time and stay connected with us a long time.
Well,
We want
here's how I look at Steve. I bundle all your products, which I like my clients to have. And in the top of the line, it's maybe $450 a month for everything. Within that 450, all you have to do is capture one, maybe two patients per month, and you're doubling your investment. Cost you 450, you're making 800. I'll do that all day long, and that's what I want for my clients and the ease of use if they'll take a little bit of time. So I just want to kind of wrap up, unless you have anything else, Steve, and say,
Oh, that's
reach out to me. I'm going to put you in touch with Ashley. Ashley can also help you set up a personal deeper dive with a trainer on what they do. Then when you come on board, Ashley will make sure you have the best trainers because you're clients of ours. Not that all the trainers aren't great, but you're going to get the premium trainers, premium support, if you will, as an advantage of being part of Schwartz Consulting Group and the DI family. So, Steve, any final thoughts?
No, thank you guys for joining us tonight. And for those that weren't able to join, I hope that the recording's helpful for you. And as always, the future's bright. We've got lots of cool things happening in dentistry. We'll probably be on in a year with even more cooler stuff to show. So keep your ears and eyes peeled.
One last note, I have a quarterly meeting with Steve, and we're constantly finding our clients have some of the highest case acceptance rate, highest patient retention, all things that were really important to your long-term success. And we're talking amongst 10,000 practices that Dental Intel measures. So most of you are in the top 10%. Some of you are in the top 2% nationwide on key numbers like case acceptance, dollars presented to accepted, and retention and recall. So everybody keep up the great work. Let's work together. Use the tools to make your job easier. Thank you and have a great afternoon.
Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Steve.